Good morning, Stream City. It's 6 a.m. somewhere, and you're tuned into the morning show that sounds like NPR took an edible and stopped caring about the consequences. This is Munchies and Manna, where news meets nonsense. Satire meets the smoke, and every headline gets filtered through three brains operating on vibes, caffeine, and mild existential dread. I'm Eli, your halfway big narrator and board certified vibe technician. I keep the sound right, the takes off kilter, and my third eye stays twitching. And joining me as always, we've got Dan, our left-leaning fire starter philosopher. And we got David here with me, our resident right-wing agent of chaos, barbecue theorist, and man who once said, facts don't care about your munchies, with a straight face. How are you fellas doing this morning? Ladies and gentlemen, happy 4th of July. I hope you guys are having a wonderful, wonderful holiday, whether you're still having a cruise into work or you're chilling with your family today. I really just want to wish you guys a happy day of independence. To you boys. Uh, 70 million people. 70 million people are fleeing their hometown at the same time. Not one of them is emotionally prepared for the traffic on I 85 in July. Yeah, I mean, I'm sitting in the studio, Dan. You know that I don't. 100%. I'm gonna throw some firecrackers out my back door and I'm gonna call it good. Never mind change of plans. I'm going over to David's house. I mean, nothing says reform like private jets, NDAs, and a felony rap sheet. Rap. Did he do it? Also, I didn't mean to be in the courtroom that day. It just happened to be that I stopped in, and all I can say is Diddy's lawyer saved my life. What can I say? It was right down the street. It'll have you flailing down the street in no time with its deliciousness.
Definitely not fun. So yeah, nothing says Greek tragedy like Zeus sending a heat wave after you finally book a vacation. All right, Eli's going to take us into our Space Mountain ad, and we'll be right back after these messages.
Welcome to Space Mountain, your home for streamers, gamers, coders, artists, and 420 Finley creatives. Here, it's more than just a server, it's a community built on our motto: we grow together. Jump into custom voice chats, squad up with esports teams, share code, learn with our custom AI bots built in house, or drop memes at our epic one of a kind Discord server. And don't miss the vibes of the Munchies and Manor radio show streaming straight from the heart of the mountain. No pressure, just presence. No limits, just vibes. Space Mountain, where everyone has a place and every place has a vibe.
All right, so make sure you check out that Discord page if you're looking for a community to hang out with, or even just wanting to get your Munchies and Mana updates sooner, faster, and straight to your face like a bong hit. That's where you're gonna get it is in the Space Mountain Discord. Today on things you can probably relate to, where we talk about things and ask the questions you've thought of too, but we're probably too embarrassed to ask. Um, First topic of the day: does milk in cardboard cartons expire faster than plastic bottles, or is that just marketing lies from Big Food? So, like personally, I have currently in my fridge, I have one of the cardboard cartons, like half gallons of milk. Okay, uh, it doesn't expire. It says on the print on the label or whatever. It says that it doesn't expire until the 6th, right? But I opened it yesterday for a little bit of cereal, and while it tasted fine, it started having that like sour smell to it. You know what I mean? You know what I'm describing? For all you milk users, for
I
real, not nut juice, but like real milk. So it started getting
don't.
that like kind of sour smell to it. The milk still tasted like almost okay, but like now I know today on the 4th of July, 2 or 3 days before it says it's expired, that milk is no longer good. Where I've kept milk in like the plastic jugs, I've kept milk and that milk stayed good like 4 days after the expiration date. Like that milk was still like completely fine. So does the cardboard carton make your milk expire faster? Or are we being lied to by big propaganda in the food corporation?
I think you're going crazy.
Well, look here, man. Milk's expensive, and I gotta get. I want to know so I know I'm buying the right thing. You know, I don't want to be out here just buying bullshit. Like if my milk receptacle is making my milk go bad sooner, I need to know. The
Right,
people need
right.
to know. Mm, no, no,
I
no, no, no comments there.
Uh, uh,
Just me by myself.
I
All right, that's
mean,
fine. Nope, that's fine. We can move on. I got other topics. If you don't relate
yeah.
to that, that's fine. I relate
No,
to that like a motherfucker because I've been
I
thinking
think
about this question for like a week now.
I just think you're crazy. I think cardboard doesn't. I don't think it matters.
yeah, I
It's got
don't.
to do something with
I would
osmosis.
say it's the temperature of the milk that's in the fridge.
Nah, it's got to be something with osmosis. I learned about that shit in school. There's got to be osmosis fucking with my milk with the cardboard and shit. You can't osmosis through plastic. You can osmosis through cardboard. It's got pores. Porous.
E-
I don't know.
So, but how? Okay, how many times have you drank milk where it expired before the date?
Out of cardboard, quite
Out of
frequently. Out of plastic, like twice. Which is why the question is there. Like, does milk expire faster than cardboard? Can reciprocals, containers, if you will, does it or does it or does it not?
I so I'm still going with eh, the I would go to bet that the milk is not being maintained properly, either either by you or by the store.
Interesting. That's an
Because I
interesting take
mean,
that you slip straight to error. instead of like a real answer,
Well,
like
yeah.
the
Well,
answer that I wanted to
we've
hear.
we've been drinking milk out of cartons for decades.
Yeah, and how much of that milk was expired?
For me, none of it. I've had
Because of its
expired milk out of
cardboard
plastic
cardboard.
though.
Have you?
Yeah, but I've never had expired milk out of cardboard.
That's
But I
that's that's
also,
that's
yeah,
you're gassing my flabbers right now. You got to be lying.
I I'm sorry. I mean, I do the sniff test before I drink milk.
Yeah, that's. I mean, you gotta hit the sniff test. If it's not nut juice, if it's real milk, gotta hit it with the sniff test. Make sure it's all good to go.
I still do it with nut juice. Milk is
That's
milk, homie. I
that's
just,
weird. That's weird that you're walking around sniffing nut juice, my guy.
hey,
Uh,
you
you,
gotta
you
you gotta
gotta.
check.
I'm sorry, bro, but it just.
Bro, I do the sniff test on almost everything I put in my mouth.
Speaking of the sniff test, um, another thing that you guys could probably relate to is judging people for things that you 100% also do, like the sniff test.
Yes.
Yeah.
I judge
'Cause,
people
like
if
I,
if
if they don't or if they do,
if they don't.
that's fair.
Like what the fuck you putting that in your mouth for?
Well, like the sniff test isn't just for edible or inedible things. It's also like the I've worn this shirt twice this week. Can I wear it again? Or you know what I mean? Or uh or is do my shoes smell that bad? Or is that just like
Did I remember
not my
deodorant
shoes?
today?
Right. You know?
Yeah,
Um
I, I mean, who doesn't
so
do the sniff test?
you know what really pisses me off is like when your brain and body make you do a sniff test of something that you know doesn't smell good. It's not gonna smell good. It's not, but you have to smell it. Like you have it's almost like, well, I gotta see how bad it actually is. You know what I mean? Like a
Can I
gym
get
bag
some
that you
examples?
yeah, sure. So you left a gym bag in your closet. The last time you went to the gym was in 2023. You forgot your workout clothes in there. They just been soaking it up in there from your last New Year's resolution of I'm gonna get fit this year. And then you went and worked out in the same clothes for 3 days and said, "Yep, that's good," and never went back. And you just threw that gym bag into a closet and it's just been sitting there. It's 2025. You find that gym bag, you know you have to smell it.
I just throw it
Yeah,
away.
so I just throw that shit in the garbage.
Yeah.
Right, but not after you sniff it.
Yeah, I don't sniff it.
Nah,
You
that
might
that
not even you might not even unzip it, but you're gonna bring the bag up to like face level and hit it with a
No,
quick sniff. Hit it with a
no,
quick sniff. I'm judging
no.
you so hard right
Dan,
now because there's no
Dan
way that
just
you're
likes. Dan-
no, there's it's like a intrusive thought. You have to
no,
smell it. Or like when you're picking some socks and you're trying to figure out if they're clean or not, and you hit it with that like away from your face sniff.
nope. I, see, I guess this is maybe where I'm OCD at. I put my dirty clothes in the dirty clothes basket, and I don't put them on my floor.
Okay,
And I
but
put
if you
and I
wear
put my
if
clean.
you wear socks one time for like an hour, those socks go in the dirty clothes.
Why would I only wear socks for an hour?
I don't know. Maybe you just got out of the shower or some shit. I don't know.
Okay. Uh, I have a pair of socks for the day.
Oh, so like if you shower in the middle of the day, those same socks are going back on.
Why would I shower in the middle of the day?
I don't know, because maybe you went swimming or something, motherfucker. Like, can you use your imagination, or do I got to prompt you with everything?
Motherfucker, I'm using flip flops after that.
Well, say you ain't got flip flops. Say all you got is socks and tennis shoes, motherfucker.
then yeah, I'm putting my shoes. I'm putting my socks back on. The fuck? That's like that's okay. If I go jump in the lake or I go jump in the pool, I'm gonna dry off, put my shit back on, and go.
You're an interesting fellow. You know that?
I shower. I
Also,
shower in the morning and I shower before bed.
if you shower before bed, why do you have to shower in the morning?
I sweat at night
How much?
enough that I want to shower before I get up.
Well, that's
Like
kind of hot. Um, so
I don't know.
for
I
all
like
you night,
showers. I like
you
showers in
like
the
shower.
morning, and I like
Yeah,
showers before I go to bed.
your bed must be clean, like
It
AF.
well, them fucking dogs, man.
Oh, that's fair. Yeah, my dogs sleep on my bed too.
Yeah.
What's
You're
wild?
weird if your dogs don't sleep with you.
I agree. That is odd pet behavior or pet owner behavior. Okay,
Weirdos.
so last thing here is that you could probably relate to is having imaginary arguments in your head and winning them flawlessly, while in the real world you generally just say okay and walk away. Um, Also, the thing about having arguments with myself, like building the argument up in my head and like right before I go argue with somebody, is that motherfucker almost never says the shit that I said they were gonna say.
Never.
They always got
Nope.
some different shit to say. They always got some different shit to say that destroys my fucking like pre-made argument. Like I'm ready to like just bust it down, and they come from the sideways and they're like, "Well, what do you think about this?" And it's like, "Well, that just fucking ruined everything I was gonna say to your ass for the next 20 minutes."
Oh yeah. Like,
So
nah, nah.
You guys have pre-argument arguments?
Yes.
fuck yeah,
That's a
What?
normal. That's a
yeah.
normal human function, bro. Like, yeah.
Like especially when I know I'm coming into a place where I'm gonna have to argue with somebody. You damn right. I sit there. I have anxiety over that shit. I won't sleep. I'll straight up stay up all night thinking about different ways I can disassemble your arguments just to show up and you use none of those things as your argument. Fucking bitch.
Yeah, I'm. Bro, I don't think about shit.
He said
I
it's all
think
straight
about
off the
shit.
top of my dome.
It's off the top of my dome. I think about shit afterwards. Cause then I'm like, hey, I'm gonna do this for next time.
Oh, dude, I have post argument arguments with myself all the time. Like, damn, I could have said this line, and that one would have got him. I always come up with the best shit to say like 20 minutes after an argument.
Oh, it's the best. But yeah, you guys do that before?
Yeah, absolutely,
Yeah, my mind's blown right
absolutely,
now. That's crazy to
yeah,
me.
absolutely. I absolutely, it's a social anxiety thing for me. Like I
Yeah.
don't want to
Same.
sound stupid. I want to sound
Yeah.
educated. So I'm
Yeah.
gonna come into that bitch sounding educated as yuck.
Yes, I don't give a fuck how I sound. I don't give a fuck what people think about me.
Like I'm on Chat
Like,
GPT doing research and shit. Like, how should I bring this up naturally in a conversation? Like if
oh,
I'm
see,
arguing with someone, how
I'm
do I
just out
bring
here
this
like
point up?
I'm just over here like fuck apples.
No,
You want to talk about Abe Lincoln? Let's go. I don't give a
man.
Now
fuck. I
I
gotta
will
say
Dude,
this
fucking
shit.
I
I'll
will.
research shit and like
Yeah.
prepare an argument.
Yeah.
Like
It's like
you know how like
like
I
you're
write
ready
an
to.
outline for our show every day?
I do that
Like
with an
or
argument.
yeah, I do that same shit with an argument. If I gotta argue some shit that's got like facts, I'll pull up articles with like cited sources and shit. I'll put that shit in MLA format, and then I'll honestly, if I'm tired at that point, I'll just send it to you. There's my argument. I don't even want to talk. Here's my argument. Debunk it if you want.
Yeah.
Here's all the
In my
articles. Here's my proof. Here's the statistics on it. I ain't even got to say it no more. I wrote it all out for you. I spelled it out for you.
see, mine must be
That's
the
that's how I
ADHD or
argue.
something. Mine must be ADHD because I hear something and then it's just like, oh, knowledge dump on this stuff that I know. But if I
Oh
don't,
yeah, well, I mean, if it's a casual conversation, then yeah,
My
yeah,
thing
I'll
is
just
that
info dump.
if it's a serious argument or I'm like really mad about it, I will play the argument out in my head in different ways after the fact.
There you go. Like
Like
breaking
not
it
not
down
not
like
just
your
that.
favorite
Like I
sports
think
segment.
about like things in the moment that I could have said differently, or you know, like I don't know. And I know that's probably extra weird, like to a different extreme. That's borderline
no,
psychopathy right there.
no.
Like
So I think that's normal. I think most people will think about things they did or say or said.
no, I will
I think
play out the same
Or will say.
scenario in my head in different ways. Does that make sense? Like it'll be
yeah.
the exact same conversation, but I will say something else to change the outcome of the conversation. Like in my it sucks, bro. I hate it. It gives me
Oh yeah.
anxiety and it makes me feel stupid.
I think so. I think that's just part of self-reflection. I think I maybe not in depth as much as you do, but I think most people do that.
Hindsight's 20/20, and all the best
Right.
comebacks are always in hindsight.
Exactly. But the doing it before thing, that's weird as fuck.
Nah, I don't think so. I
Nah,
don't think that's weird at all.
that's just social preparation.
Yeah.
Like when I was first learning to get over my social anxiety and shit, I used to carry little cue cards in my pocket for conversation starters in case I ever got caught in a situation where I had to use small talk. I didn't know how to I didn't know how to talk to people very well. So
See,
I used to carry around these little.
I did that in my 20s, like my late 20s, cuz like my brother and
Oh yeah,
stuff
I was doing
would
that shit in high school
my brother would
because I
like,
didn't know.
well, the thing is like, you know, I talk about some nerdy shit. Like I built an entire fucking fantasy world. Like at the time that I was working on it, it's all I cared about. It's like the owner of Space Mountain with his bots.
Yeah,
Like he self obsesses over it and he pores over it and he hyperfixate on it and it's all he wants to talk about because he's excited about it. You know what I mean? Like
right.
and and you know, I'm happy to let him do that because I understand what that feels like because I did it with my world build. You know what I mean? And I still get excited about it when somebody asks me about it. Like yesterday, you know, we were all sitting in the Discord here talking, and he started asking me questions because he's building a DM bot, like a dungeon master bot, but he's using my
Yeah.
lore as the basis for the bot.
Well, that's fucking cool.
Yeah, and so he like you know,
Go,
and
Nerdy.
nerd
it's a
alert.
yeah, absolutely. You know what? I'm excited, and the thing is we can share in that excitement right now because he's building the bot for it, but he's using my lore and he's asking me questions for clarification so that he can educate the bot. You know what I mean? And it's fun, but when I was younger and I was first developing it, my brother would tell me nobody gives a shit about that, and I would have to like temper my expectations about what I would need to say like beforehand because I was afraid that nobody would give a shit about the things that I'm excited about. So I kind of understand where
Right.
Oh,
Dan's coming from, like in tempering that social anxiety a little bit by kind of pre-recording conversations in your head.
yeah, I get that. I just make fun of myself. It's a great icebreaker.
Well,
Like,
that. Oh, go ahead.
oh, I'm good.
What are you gonna say? Oh, okay.
I'm gonna take a
Well,
hit. You should too.
that,
That's what we're doing.
yeah.
Smoke
That wraps
time.
up things you can probably relate to. Um, Stick around while we take a smackaroo out of our bowls, and Florida or Fiction is coming up next. Dun 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 dun. What you know about that, Bobby Caldwell? Anyways, back to our section, Florida or Fiction. Our first headline for today: a naked Florida man crashes into car dealership, steals a truck, and then drives it through the showroom. Is this Florida or is it fiction?
That's 100% Florida.
Florida.
Yeah.
That could
Florida
happen
is
anywhere.
the right answer. It can happen anywhere. I was honestly not surprised that this didn't happen in Arkansas or Oklahoma. It seems
Yeah.
just as likely. You know
California.
those. Yeah, I mean, you know how those Methodists be. Um, This happened in Sarasota, Florida. A 38-year-old man wearing nothing but adrenaline and bad decisions crashed into a local dealership at 3 a.m., hotwired a Ford F-150, and drove it straight through the showroom window. He told officers he was on a mission from the universe. The universe did not file charges, but the Sarasota PD did. And that was a real headline
That
from
man wasn't on
Sarasota,
a mission
Florida.
from the universe. He was on a mission from fucking Rockstar's Rage Engine, and he thought he was Michael DeSanta.
There you go.
A
Sometimes the PCP and GTA 5 hit a little too hard.
little
Our
bit.
next headline: Florida man sues Tesla for stealing his soul during autopilot mode. Is this Florida or is it fiction?
I don't know. I want it to be
It's a little
fake
too
so
far out.
badly, bro. I want it to be fake so badly, bro. But I don't. Oh
But again, it's Florida.
god, dude. It's not just that. It's just the
They gave Florida a
absurdity.
smart car, and this is
It,
you can't be surprised when someone's trying to sue the smart car for
it's just the
something that it
absurdity of the world, man.
Well,
Like that could have been a Westboro person here, you know. Like, oh god, man.
Those
Like,
Mexican Americans. When will they learn?
not just the Mexican Americans, but I hate to use this word, but the religious zealots, you know, and
Oh yeah,
don't think that, you know, don't think that I'm out
Jesus on
here.
my toast.
Yeah,
Jesus on my toast,
yeah,
or
and no, don't
angels
think
in
I'm
my
out here
potato chips looking.
like. Don't get me wrong, audience. Don't think I'm out here bashing religion, because I believe in God, like a very, very, very highly believe in God, and I have some pretty out there beliefs about it, but there is a level of
I think we lost him.
I was about to say there's a level of what? Don't leave me hanging.
I think I'm back.
Oh, I think
Sorry.
we. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, there we go. We're back.
All right. Yeah.
There's a level of what?
There's just a
It just doesn't want you to say it. Thou shalt not speak.
ladies and
I would
gentlemen, the
love.
universe
I
is
would
telling
love
me to
if this
shut the
wasn't
fuck
a
up.
technical error, and this was more of a. And this was more of a bit, but it's still funny.
Oh my god, dude.
Oh, he's back. So what level were we on again?
Nope.
Is
Nope.
it co-player or
Nope. Just go move on to the next headline, please. Please, the universe is telling me to shut the fuck up, bro. Like,
this is a fake headline. Although he did claim that the vehicle stared into his soul through the dashboard camera, and now he can hear Elon's voice in his head during thunderstorms. The lawsuit was filed in Crown. Um, it is fake, but it could also happen by 2026. So stay tuned. It's got it's got levels to this shit, man.
oh god, there are, dude. That's the thing, that there are, like, you know, like I was trying to talk about, like, the cadence between, like, my extreme beliefs and you know.
You're gonna start cutting out here.
Yeah,
I was about to say,
I know.
really, he's gonna stop that. Woman tries to
So
rob a gas station with a stapler wrapped in electrical tape. Is this Florida or is it fiction?
That is that is the most messed out thing
Yup,
I've ever heard, bro. That's
that's
Florida,
Florida.
bro. That's either Florida or it is your it's your trick question, and that happened in Alabama. Like,
I mean,
this
when I worked at a gas station, somebody tried to rob me with a candy bar.
that's what's up.
So
Did it work?
it did not that time.
Got you.
implying that somebody's
This is
tried it
a
before and it worked the first
No,
time.
well, I got robbed with a knife or by a
I'm just
knife.
I'm
Yeah.
playing into the bit, man. My bad.
Not
don't
been
bring up
robbed by
his
a candy bar.
don't bring up like his trauma, man.
Oh
Don't bring
shit.
up his trauma. It triggers him. This was a real headline in Ocala, Florida. Clerks at a Shell station called 911 after a woman demanded cash while waving a makeshift quote unquote gun made from a stapler, electrical tape, and a misplaced confidence. She
See,
fled on foot and was found hiding behind Waffle House. Um, Moral of the story: if you can't tell weapon from office supplies, maybe rethink your life path. Um, but yeah, 100% a real Florida headline out of Ocala, Florida.
how did you say Ocala?
Ocala.
I'm gonna start
They got a
calling
lot of
it that.
French and Spanish, stuff down there. I didn't want to be rude. Um, how you say it again?
Ocala.
Ocala.
Yeah.
Ocala? Okay, got you.
Yeah.
I thought I was saying it right. Thought my English was doing good today. Um, a Tampa man is arrested for running an illegal petting zoo out of his backyard pool. Is this Florida or is it fiction?
that's
Fiction. They
that's
don't charge for that.
that. Yeah, I was gonna say that's not Florida. That's The Sims.
Okay,
Definitely.
so you're both going with fiction.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't pay
Okay,
for that.
this is fiction. Well, actually, it was my trick question. It was my trick. This happened in Louisiana.
Oh my god,
Animals
dude.
included two goats, a raccoon, three ducks, and one very unhappy emu wearing sunglasses. He called the zoo Swim Zoo, where you could swim and pet the live animals. This did happen in Louisiana. Um, I can't be sure on the specifics of when or where or even why. Um, but my sources tell me that this did actually happen, just not in Florida. So good job snuffing that one out. Our last Florida fiction headline: Florida woman calls 911 on McDonald's for running out of McNuggets. Is this Florida or is it fiction?
I could see it.
That's Kansas. Oh shit.
I
I'm gonna
ordered my
yeah.
nuggies.
That's
Give me my nuggets.
that could happen anywhere in the United States, man. But yeah, I'm gonna have to say Florida.
So we're saying that one's true.
Yep.
Is that true for you as well?
I think
I
we
mean, I
all
would call the cops.
I think we are all in agreement.
You would
Yeah.
call the cops.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, this is a real Florida headline in Port St. Louis, Lucie? Yeah, in Port St. Lucie, Florida. After being told the 10-piece was unavailable, a woman called the emergency services 3 times demanding justice. When asked what the emergency was, she replied, "This is a crime against fast food." She was not wrong, but also don't call 911 for that.
Jesus Christ.
I
Justice
think
for
she
Definitely.
should.
McNuggets. We've all been there, but some of us use restraint and therapy.
I honestly think she should have been arrested.
For like a false emergency call or whatever.
Yeah,
Because
for
I know
Yeah.
like
wasting time and resources.
yeah, because I know there's like a whole charge for making up bad calls to the police. You know, the thing is though, with like 911 operators, nobody ever calls them to ask them how their day is going. Like
Yeah, that's because the typical person
911
knows that if they
operators
do
are
that, they'll
not.
go to jail.
Well, I know, but like 911 operators aren't your therapist. Like, bro, like there should be a 911 operator appreciation day where instead of calling with emergencies and horrifying graphic crimes and deaths and dismemberments, we should just call them and, hey, how's your mental health today? You know what I mean? Like, we gotta start taking better care of our 911 operators. Like,
There's a day of the
maybe,
year where
maybe the next
they
time
get
you have an
stuff.
emergency, maybe the next time you have an emergency, maybe start the conversation off with, "Hey, how's your day going?" Instead of, "Oh God, please help." Like, we get it. It's an emergency. You don't have to be a dick about
Now I'll be a dick about it. Especially when they start making me repeat myself.
it. Oh yeah, 911 operators with bad hearing do not apply to what I just said. It's like it's literally 3/4 of your job is to be able to hear good. Like I shouldn't have to tell you my emergency 4 different times and in 2 languages for you to still ask me, huh? Like
Could
I'm
you
gonna hang up.
could you could you tell
The
me what
emergency's over.
could you tell me what happened? I was robbed with a gun. I'm at a gas station. All right, can you tell me what happened again, please? Was there a weapon involved?
Where are you at?
Where are you at? What's your location?
Please help.
I don't know what's worse, robbing a gas station with a stapler or trying to fight Tesla's autopilot in court.
You know, if they do the autopilot thing, would that open up like Apple or whoever for being sued for putting earbuds in my ear and hearing voices?
What?
You might, you might, you might get a little feedback on that one. But um,
It's
all right. So that
outlandish.
that was our segment, Florida or fiction. If you have any outrageous Florida headlines or even fake ones that you think are good enough to get on the show, make sure you drop those in our topics page in the Space Mountain Discord under the Munchies and Mana channel. All right, we come to a more serious part of our show. We put our thinking caps on. We load up a fresh bowl so that we don't start hating each other by the end of this conversation. Today on Highly Debatable, is it Alligator Alcatraz or Alligator Oswich? Is
Oh
Florida's new detainment camp history
no.
repeating itself or a necessary evil? So the backstory here, in case you're ill-informed, last week the first immigration detainees were transferred to Camp Resilience, the formal name for what critics and locals are now calling Alligator Alcatraz. The facility now sits on 39 square miles of Big Cypress National Preserve, an ecologically sensitive zone in the Florida Everglades. Built in breakneck speed, or 8 days, and surrounded by swamps infested with literal alligators, pythons, and panthers, the center was funded via the coalition of federal funds and private Republican donors with logistical support from Florida's hurricane prep agencies, or FEMA. It's designed to hold up to 5,000 migrants at a time under ICE's 287-G accelerated deportation program. The site includes military-style barracks, courtrooms for expedited hearings, and floodlights. The perimeter system secured naturally by the surrounding predators. The Department of Homeland Security calls it a cost-saving innovation and a deterrent structure. Donald Trump has publicly celebrated the site as a shining example of what border policy can look like when you get rid of red tape and feelings. Meanwhile, Democrats, tribal leaders, and human rights groups are calling it something else, an unregulated, extra legal internment camp. So, arguments here for the two frames: Proponents say it's not a prison, it's an ecosystem with boundaries. The center keeps detainees close to federal processing while leveraging natural terrain to reduce costs. No razor wire needed when gators are on staff. We built it fast because we had to. Advocates claim speed was necessary due to the overcrowding at ICE facilities and lack of regional resources. Efficiency over red tape. Deterrence works, says one. By placing the facility in an inhospitable swamp, the hope is that fewer migrants attempt to cross, a real world version of fast travel disabled in hostile zones. The critics, on the other hand, are saying it's Guantanamo with airboats, no public transparency, no federal oversight, and rapid fire deportation hearings mirror the legal black hole that made Gitmo famous. The tribal leaders there are saying it desecrates tribal lands. The site was constructed without input from indigenous communities, violating sacred territory and sparking lawsuits. It's functionally a concentration camp. Critics, including the human rights scholars, note that, like the World War II era internment camps, Alligator Alcatraz relies on geographic isolation, indefinite detention, and state sponsored dehumanization. The visual language, armed security, confined populations, no trial by jury, bears disgusting and disturbing resemblance to Nazi lager systems and Japanese American internment centers of the 1940s. As historian Rachel Devlin wrote this week, the architecture of exclusion rarely begins with death camps. It begins with barbed wire euphemisms and plausible deniability. Um, my personal stance on this is that we've seen this movie before. It starts with detention, ends in trauma, and gets sold as efficiency. Camp Resilience sounds like the kind of place where Orwell and Kafka would go to vape. At what point do they start posting the train schedules? Because this is starting to sound a whole lot like 1940s in the 2020s.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I mean, if you go look at the pictures of this, if you go look at the pictures of their quote unquote military style bunking, um, and then you go look at the concentration camps from World War II and how close the beds and everything were together, there's a striking resemblance of
Yeah.
the amount of space given to these detainees.
Compare that to any other structure that was put up by FEMA to help people in any other situation. Those beds are just as close as every other camp that goes through if there's a wildfire or a hurricane.
I think the difference
So
though is
you
context.
so it but so the context is the context is people are complaining that ICE that already full detention centers are overcrowded. So they put up new detention centers and put just as many people in them. Those centers are just as full as any other center that FEMA would have put up to help our citizens in any circumstances.
No, but what I'm saying is that the difference here is the context of the situation. Like
The context of the situation
the-
would be to put those people that have been moved to a new facility that are being moved to a new facility. The other option is to keep them in the more overcrowded areas where they're already in.
yes. But
Okay, so that would be less humane because they're more crowded where they're currently at. They are less crowded here.
Okay,
along
yeah,
with
but
the
they're
other
less
places
crowded.
that are less crowded.
They're more crowded,
That
but they're
is
getting due process. Well, by being overcrowded, where this isn't due process. This is a private judge, jury, executioner style of
it's not
determining
it's
whether you can
not
be here.
it's not because they've also put a deportations office in there, and they have a full legal team handling deportations there on site. It's not just a detention center. It is a whole process. It is the entire deportation process in one spot, just like other detention centers. This is a pop-up detention center that is on an airport that has the airport has fencing around it. This is a detention center that has been placed on the runway with more fencing around it. So it is in a double secured fence, just like any other detention center. And they have less guards because the people that are in the detention center know that if they go outside the double fence, there's alligators and wildlife. Hence why they don't need guards. But
Well, yeah, that part's fair,
even
but I mean, and
right,
it being
but
a
even
pop-up.
right, the pop-up detention center is no different than any other pop-up center that FEMA would have placed up in any other natural disaster.
Yeah, except maybe maybe they would have placed it in a place that didn't flood 48 hours after completion, leaving feet of water on the ground where people are supposed to be living.
Right. And that's Florida. It'll go away.
Right. Well, yeah, but you can't house people in feet of water, David. That's inhumane.
And have it feel humane. That's my
And
whole
and
gripe is
and
that
how fast did the water go away?
It's still there.
it's a matter of
How
it's a matter of location. It's a matter of the way that it's being treated, not just by media, but the government. Like I understand that immigration policy is important, okay? But in the manner in which all of the immigration policy has been enacted and handled since essentially this whole ICE thing started happening, to me it's ridiculous. Like I I am terrified for friends and family and people close to me because you know they could be literally judged on the spot due to the color of their skin, like and it
did we lose them again?
Yeah.
and it's just a matter of I think having an air of humanity is a little more important when it comes to like where you where you decide you're gonna build something, where you're going to, it's not good. It's not a good look because it does look like a concentration camp. Whether whether we want to sit here and argue the semantics of it or not, it doesn't look good. Like it probably doesn't feel good to the people that are there. They're probably terrified, you know, like it is inhumane, and it has a lot to do with the location of it being built. Like like it's not good. It's segregated. It's in a place
So
that's dangerous. Like it's
so
in it's
let me ask you this. Have you heard about any other detention centers flooding?
no.
Okay, well they have. So why are you only hearing about this one?
Because it was built in 8 days and it looks like
It
a
was
concentration camp.
okay, look at any see, so here's the thing. You keep on saying concentration camp, which it if you look at any other detention center, that is what they look like. If you look at any other FEMA center, that is what they look like. You have to stop calling it a concentration camp because you're building an idea in your head to in correlation to something that it's not.
Well, I
If
mean,
you
but
no, but you can't if
no,
but
look,
nothing because
yes, I can. No, I
if you
actually
went
can
through a hur
because
if you
it
went through a
doesn't.
hurricane,
Yes,
if you
we can
went
get
through a
stuck on the
hurricane
aesthetics.
if
Yes,
you
we can
went
get
through
stuck
a
on the aesthetics.
hurricane,
I
you
get
would be
it,
put
bro.
in the
Move
same
on.
facility.
Okay, that's great. Now listen to this. concentration camps also had no due process, which is what these detainees are currently experiencing under
There's
287
there
of
is a
ICE. Like
federal
that is what's
there, but
happening.
that
There
is a
is
false statement because there is a
no, it's
federal
not. No, it's
there is
not.
a federal deportations office in that facility.
That doesn't mean they're
There is
doing
a
it with due
federal
process.
deportation process.
That doesn't mean they're following due process. You can yell at me all you want. It doesn't make you any more right.
So okay, so are you
Like,
saying
Jesus
that they
Christ,
have a
dude.
so the
Just
federal
because the
people
office is there doesn't mean that it's being run correctly or used systematically. It could be
and you're
used
just
systemically just to
and you're
oppress those
assuming
people.
that it's not.
No, because we have no proof that it is. We
There
have no
is
proof that
that it is.
no, we don't have proof that that
Every
office is
other
doing.
detention center. Unless you're saying that the
You mean the
government
ones?
doesn't do.
You mean the ones with? You mean the ones with multitudes of lawsuits for not using the correct due process? Like they're not using the correct litigation for due process currently. That's why there's a
They're not.
slew
No.
of
Again,
lawsuits from
that
American
is
citizens
also
who get
that
wrapped
is
up
also
in this
misinformation.
non-due process. How is it misinformation when an American citizen got deported from America? How is that false? How is that false when they went and saw him in another country and they're like, why are you here? And he's like, I don't know. I got deported. I'm an American. I was born in America. And yet he's in another country facing deportation charges for what?
Well, if
They're
he was
not
in
using,
another country, he would have been.
they are not using the right. That means they're not using the right litigation of the due process laws and statutes that are set in place.
And how many times
That is the proof I've had. Three
How many
times.
times?
3 times has it happened to an American citizen.
3 times out of how many?
I don't have that statistic.
Well, it would be nice to know the statistics so you would know the percentage of error that somebody made. Because nobody is perfect.
That doesn't need to be an error.
No,
that can't be an error where we're deporting American citizens.
It definitely shouldn't be an error. I'm sorry, David. I'm sorry, David. I can't.
It shouldn't. It shouldn't be an error. But are people perfect?
No, people aren't perfect. But when it comes to things like that,
so if people are not perfect, then you have to assume there will be
an imperfect system and then just be okay with it being flawed. That's not okay.
Yeah, that's not.
I'm not saying it's not. I'm not saying that's okay. This is where
we can't just
hold on. No, shut your mouth for a moment. This is where the misconception is. People on the left hear one thing when people on the right say another, and then they don't stop yapping their mouth and actually listen to what was said.
You know that could be
hear me out
as well.
Hear me out for a moment. Did I say that an accidental deportation or making a mistake was okay?
No, it was implied.
No,
by glancing over it.
You assumed. I did not imply anything. You assumed.
It was implied by what you said.
No, it wasn't, because you didn't let me stop. You interrupted and didn't let me stop talking because you heard something, assumed something, and started yapping instead of letting me finish.
I understand your perception.
Did I say that I said, what is the statistics for how many people have been deported? And you said you don't know. So I said it would be nice to know the statistics of the percentage of the mistake that was made. And you assumed that I agreed that I should just not care that somebody was deported that it shouldn't have been. I asked for the percentage.
What you said after that. I know, it was what you said after that. It was what was implied by what you said after that.
What did I say after that? Implied that it's okay.
While it would be great if we did have that statistic, it still doesn't. That's not a valid argument. That's not a valid. Well, it's only happened 3 times compared to the 3,000 people that doesn't matter. Because it
does matter
happen.
Because
no, it doesn't. Because I didn't interrupt you. You don't interrupt me.
Right.
Shut your mouth for a moment.
That is part of but see,
shut your mouth for a moment.
Listen to what I said.
You're not listening to what I'm saying now. You're not listening to what I'm saying now. So shut the fuck up.
There's no reason to cuss. You
You're
didn't
right.
listen
My
to
bad.
what I you there's you
And
didn't
you're not
listen to what
listening
I
to me
said.
now, David. This is why I can't
Be,
talk to you. This is why I can't talk to you about deep stuff, because you won't ever shut up long enough for somebody else to talk. You hear
I
something and
asked,
have to jump in because you have to correct them instead of just listening to their entire point. Shut up.
you know what? I'll shut up and then I'm going to ask the same question. Go ahead.
It would be great if we had the statistic for how many people have been deported successfully for a valid reason to those that have been deported either by accident as an American citizen or had no viable right for deportation.
If they're
Meaning they're
here
not a
illegally,
criminal,
that's
they're
a
not,
viable right.
yeah, that's fine. But we're sending people who are here legally and we're deporting them. People with
3 of
valid
them.
student visas, people with valid work visas, people with valid passports and vacation itineraries are getting deported from this country in ICE raids.
What are their names?
ICE is breaking into people's houses. ICE is breaking into people's houses, and they're American citizens off of bad intel. And all these people are getting in reply or "Oops, my bad." No, there should be no "Oops, my bad" in our foreign policy. If our immigration policy looks like a version of Jurassic Park and Schindler's List, we need to go back to the drawing board.
Where was your
We have to
complaints?
follow American due process for immigration. This stuff was set up in the 1940s when we went through this with China and Japan. Like, why we can't follow that same structure now is beyond me. But we have people, we have we have we have federal people doing things the wrong way, and because of the current stigma of our immigration policy, people are just okay with it, or they're turning a blind eye to what visibly looks like history repeating itself, not only with the aesthetics of what's going on, but with what's going on behind the aesthetics, what's actually going on in these detainment camps, what's actually going on during these deportation litigations, what's actually going on with the ICE raids, and with people who don't need to be deported being sucked into this black hole of misrepresentation and policy abuse.
So can I
Eh,
speak now?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank
So
you.
the reason why I asked what the percentage was is because it's rather important. If you want to talk about people accidentally getting deported, and there's 3 of them in the last few months under Trump, between 2015 and 2020, 70 people got deported that should not have been deported, that nobody spoke about, nobody cared about, nobody said anything about. On top of that, in the last 20 years, 3,000 people have been arrested and detained by ICE that were not that never should have been detained because accidents happen. So I understand that you don't like Trump. I understand that you don't like his government and his policies and his cabinet members and everything else about him. I understand you don't. There's things about that guy that I don't like either, but facts are facts, my guy. And this shit happens every day, every year, under every presidency, and you don't hear about it because it's not the orange Cheeto, and people don't want to strike, and people want to strike him in a bad way. But people like you refuse to look up statistics from multiple years ago that we have the numbers on. When you get asked something to your face, you say, "Well, I don't know the statistics," and then you start assuming shit. That is the problem.
What did I assume?
Okay, well, hold
You
on. Can I
assume
say
that I
something?
don't care that Americans got deported, because I do care.
Can I
But I
say?
want to know the percentage of the mistakes that we're making today compared to the percentage of the mistakes that we made 2 years ago or 4 years ago or 10 years ago.
It's 1 to 2%, by the way.
Thank you.
And here's the thing: if that's happening over the last 6 months, not even the rate at which it's happening is what is alarming. It's not that it's happening at all; it's the rate at which it's happening. Okay, The thing is that my wife, who is a brown-skinned woman, can't even go to the store without being questioned by someone in ICE because they're raiding the store, like why she's a brown-skinned woman and whether or not she's a citizen of the United States. She's not even Mexican. She's a Native American.
Right.
And that's what makes it not right. That's blatant bigotry. It's blatant. It's blatant, and that is the problem, David.
And what I understand that your wife is going through that right now, and all I am trying to say is that has gone on in every city across America for multiple years. Under Biden and under Obama, more deportations happened, which means that ICE was out doing the exact same shit more. Just because you didn't see it, and just because the news didn't bring it up on the damn reels every 10 minutes, doesn't mean it wasn't happening. It wasn't happening to people you know. It was happening every single day in Texas, and it was in Texas news every single day. It was in California news every single day. It made headlines across the states multiple times a week. It's not something new.
It's not
This
new,
has
but
been going on.
It's
The only difference is it's being vilified by news stations, and it's happening less than it did 6 years ago. It's happening less than it did 10 years ago.
To be completely fair, just to preface, I know this might not change the argument, nor am I sharing this information for it to. But I've been protesting for human rights for the last decade, and that is also been during protests for how ICE conducts investigations, because it breaches the Fourth Amendment right so goddamn hard.
yeah,
Like it does.
Right.
Like any ICE investigation
and
just absolutely demolishes the Fourth Amendment right to
Right.
privacy.
I
Well,
don't necessarily
but
think that David
here's
is arguing that it's right. I think he's arguing that
No,
it's
no, no.
been
I don't know. No,
happening.
that's not what I'm saying. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying because he said that you don't hear a lot about it. I'm just prefacing that in my inner circle, I hear a lot about it because I've been
It's
protesting and
yeah,
fighting for human rights for the last 10 years, especially with our immigration policy and how we treat people of color in this country.
and I think
Also having a brown skinned wife in that it's how we treat people of color in this country and how we base people off of race instead of off of natural and actual nationality, not just the color of their skin.
right. And that is the part that I agree with, and that's what I was getting at when I brought up what I brought up, David. It's
right.
not it's not fair to her that this is happening on such a national level at this point. It's not really fair to anybody. I'm using her as a first-hand experience because obviously I care about my wife, you know. Like
So
So
it's more
it's
just personable
right.
information.
right.
Right. So I understand what you're saying, and all I'm bringing to the table, and what I want to say now is it there's also light-skinned people that are being deported as well. There
Yeah.
are
Yeah,
people from European countries that are currently and have always been deported as well.
Yeah,
We
yeah.
right.
so we People try to make it a point about color when it's not about color, it's about your status in America and if you're a legal citizen or not.
Yeah, but
Because hold on, if you're not a legal citizen, you do not get the full comfort of our laws here. You don't. We have amendments in our constitution that literally state when it comes to deportation, there is a 100% separate process that the courts use, and it is an expedited deportation process. That is the process that our courts use. That process, no, It does not follow the guidelines of our regular constitution meant for citizens. There is subsections to it that our laws for our citizens would get invalidated if they followed.
Yeah, and then what about that
I
one? What about that?
100%.
What about that 1 to 2%? Hold on, I have to ask you before I lose track of my thought. I'm not trying to interrupt you, okay?
Okay.
What about that 1 to 2% who are a natural born American citizen who, and let's be honest, there are bigots everywhere, bro. There are racist assholes everywhere, and I'm sure there are racist assholes that work for ICE who are of the mindset of, oh, I'm just gonna round up every brown person I fucking see. It's then that's just the cold hard fucking truth of the matter, and it's not something that
It
we
is.
it's not something that we as white men from Kansas will ever understand. Okay, there's always going to be that stigma there. There's always going to be that fear there in the back of my wife's head, in the back of Dan's wife's head, that something could happen to her at any minute, and it's not a good look. It is not. It's not fair. Like we have to acknowledge the fact that it is not fair. It is not
Right.
acceptable to judge someone based on the color of their skin or the preface of their nationality. Like, and I say the preface of their nationality because they could be an American born citizen with Mexican ancestry or or Greek ancestry or or
Right.
and they could be a perfectly like flawlessly English speaking person whose first language is fucking Spanish because their grandma immigrated over from Mexico in the 40s, you know,
Right.
because
They're a second year.
Yes.
They're a
So
second generation
yes. So
immigrant.
again, I have said this already during this show. I do not think that is okay. I personally do not think that that is okay. However, there is a percentage of error that humans are going to make. That is an inevitable thing that is going to happen.
okay, so let me
I
ask you.
understand I understand that there are going to be hateful bigots that do things that are not right. And I understand that those people are going to go get into career fields to fuck with people that they do not like.
Right.
That percentage is part of the overall error. I
Correct.
understand there are evil people in this world. I do not condone their actions, but I understand that mathematically they are part of the equation.
Okay. So
Right.
let me ask you another question, and
Last question. Last question.
this is very much an opinion, a very much an opinion piece. When I ask you this question, in a perfect world, how would we fix that?
In a perfect world, it wouldn't happen.
Okay, okay, in a how do I phrase this?
Better. In a better world. Not a perfect world. In a better world. Or just do we have any
In
viable
in
solutions
in
to
an
the current problem?
in a
Do we
better
have any
world,
viable solutions?
we would bring back the mistakes that we make. We would correct them as fast as humanly possible. Because again, there is nobody is perfect. No system is perfect. Therefore, it inevitably an error is going to happen. So the best way is to fix the error as soon as possible.
That's fair.
As soon as they say, "Hey, this person was deported wrongly," or they shouldn't have been deported, it should be say we should say, "Hey, we're going to bring you back to our soil or to the closest soil that we control, or that we have, you know, a government standing in, and we're going to put you in a facility until we figure out what the fuck's going on." And more than likely, the couple people that that we know for a fact that were deported wrongly will be put in some sort of facility very soon. Should it have happened already? Yes. But again, you, we have to assume that there's going to be error, and the only thing we can do is react as fast as possible.
I mean, you're right. You're right. And part of the problem, like for me, is that I don't feel like the reaction has been fast enough. Like I understand that there is a due process to this sort of thing, but if you're wrong,
well, and
if you're wrong, you're wrong.
right. Well, and like I said, I'm sure that there's people working on it in the background. And unfortunately, when the spotlight is on you, nothing is ever fast enough.
Yeah.
And I how you feel about that personally, eh, again, I don't like it. But how fast for you and how fast for me are two different stories. But I'm pretty good at betting, but I would assume that within the next 2 or 3 weeks, those three people are probably going to be put into some sort of military barracks in a country that we say we have a claim to in one way or another. And that facility will will probably be a step up from a detention center, but when I say a step up, I mean a step. It ain't up a flight of stairs, it's a step up.
They better be putting them bitches in the Four Seasons.
Well, yeah,
I
but they're
we
not.
wish. We know that they won't, but
Right.
I
They
mean, at the
right.
end, at
They,
the at the end of the day, like it's a shitty situation. It's always been a shitty situation, and you know that I will be the first to acknowledge that it's a shitty situation. But I feel like personally, there has to be more of a stride taken to eliminate that you know that
so
wiggle
there
room for error. You know what I mean?
there sh- there should be. And again, trying to take my heart out of the situation, the best way to fix our problem would be to close down the borders and stop anybody from immigrating that we don't want here, and then we can slowly fix the problem that is here.
Right.
But we have two sides that are bickering back and forth like baby back bitches and won't come to an agreement. So you get what Trump's doing. We're going to say, hey, you know what? We're just going to fucking deport everybody. We're going to enact certain laws that people don't really like, but it's on our law book so we can fucking do it. And we're going to do it. But
Final comment.
again, this is what happens when two sides can't fucking figure something out. But the fact is, until our border is under control, they're just going to keep throwing people out like they're fucking nothing. And regardless of what people want to say or not, yes, there are illegal immigrants that pay taxes. There's also illegal immigrants that don't pay taxes. There's illegal immigrants that have forged information, and they've done multiple things that have broken our laws. It is put them on, it is put them on somebody's target. Like, yes, those people will be deported, but the fact the shit happens, the shit drains our system, the shit has to get fixed. But you're not going to you can't plug a hole, or you can't stop your basement from flooding if you don't stop the water from coming in your house.
So I just need a little bit of
Like,
clarification here in the best way that I know how to get clarification. Are you essentially saying that there are legal citizens who are essentially being swatted, but immigration swatted? Like,
well, so I wouldn't say they're being swatted. Okay, let me put it this way. If you come to the so you come to the United States illegally, or you become illegal. Either your green card expires, You do a crime, you don't go up to court, they pull your temporary um
Your visa.
card to be here, your
Yeah.
visa, right? At that point, once you're illegal, when you start breaking laws, you put a target on your back. Or I should say you make the target bigger, because once you hit that illegal status, a target goes on you. And all you're doing, you get pulled over, you get a ticket. ICE sees that. You get pulled into court, you don't show up to court. ICE gets that record. You break laws, ICE gets that record. You go and you file your taxes incorrectly because you still think you have your I-95, 9, whatever you do, INII and whatever.
Yeah.
You do that incorrectly with your illegal status because you got pulled because you didn't know, but you didn't read your paper. But you filed your taxes, but you didn't know you're in illegal status. ICE finds out. All that is a bigger target on your back. It's not necessarily that somebody is hunting you or somebody is swatting you, but
Okay, but what about
there are evil people in this country that'll be like, hey,
Wrap it up.
I know my neighbor isn't legal and I'm going to call the cops. I mean, yes, that happens, but I wouldn't say that wasn't what I was talking about. That's just evil Billy being a fucking dick face.
okay, what about people that are legal that are
Eli,
Yep.
wrap it up.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. We do have to move on though. Like I am, I do want to continue talking about this, but maybe after the show's over we'll continue.
Okay.
Thank you. Our next segment, we're going to have to fly through these next ones. Our next segment, Strain and Game Pairing Post Dystopia Comfort Edition, because nothing balances state sanctioned anxiety and frame drops like full spectrum flower. Eli, go ahead and take us off with that first strain.
Strain number 1 is Blue Dream. It is a hybrid. The game pairing is Animal Well. The terpene profile is mycene. It's chill and pinene and gives you clarity. It's got notes of blueberry pie and late stage capitalism fatigue. Why this works? Animal Well drops you into a moody pixel labyrinth filled with puzzles, strange creatures, and the kind of environment storytelling that makes you question whether you're solving mysteries or just vibing in the dark. Blue Dream enhances curiosity and spatial awareness, great for when you are wandering through existential terrariums and wondering if the raccoon in the corner knows more than you do.
Our second strain is White Widow. It's a balanced hybrid. The game pairing for it is Helldivers 2. Our terpene profile is carafilonine, which gives you that focus and fight mode, plus limonene, which is that lighthearted panic. The flavors are spicy, earthy, and I just threw a grenade at myself again. Why it works? You've processed the news. Now process some alien bug guts. White Widow heightens your senses to reactions, ideal for third-person co-op chaos, intense squad-based satire about galactic fascism. And if Alligator Alcatraz was a planet in Helldivers, this strain would help you liberate it. David, take us away on strain 3.
That's gonna be Pineapple Express. The game it gets paired with is Sims 4. Terpene is limonene, which gives you the euphoria, and terpenoline. I don't know, terpenoline, which is the
Terpenoline.
terpenoline, which is the creativity and the madness. It tastes like tropical dysfunction with with god complexes. Why it works? Need to unleash chaos with real world consequences. Pineapple Express hits you with an energetic boost and time to set your sim on fire during pool party. Build up a swamp gel end game and make your own moral decisions while your sim sobs in the mirror.
Jesus.
I do like Pineapple Express, but it makes me a little woo. Good.
But you gotta remember, folks, gaming is cheaper than therapy. and cannabis is cheaper than bail. Mix responsibly, vape ethically, and for the love of patch notes, back up your saves.
Looking to level up your smoke setup? Hit up 421store.com, the online head shop with everything you actually need. We're talking torches, filters, grinders, stash gear, and even premium glass for dabbers and flower heads alike. Whether you're a seasoned sesh lord or just upgrading from that sad gas station pipe, 421 Store's got you. Prices are solid, shipping's free over $50, and the selection deep. So skip the sketchy shops and hit 421store.com. We're grown up stoners. Shop smart. All right, that leads us into our last section, our last segment for today, which is the Mana Drops. Eli's going to take us through your nerd news infusion.
Magic, media, microtransactions, and maybe a little mana burn. Xbox's Activision Fallout franchise cuts have begun. The corporate honeymoon's over. Microsoft, fresh off of finalizing its $69 billion acquisition of Activision Blizzard, has started trimming the fat. During the third quarter investor call, execs confirmed that multiple underperforming franchises will be sunset by the end of the fiscal year. Among those names being whispered in the back channel, that includes Crash Bandicoot On the Run, Skylanders, which hasn't seen a new title in almost a decade, the StarCraft remasters, mobile ports, and possibly Heroes of the Storm, which has already been functionally abandoned. The move here is that streamlining the portfolio to focus on next-gen value is, according to Phil Spencer. The translation: less nostalgia, more Game Pass bangers. Player reactions, some are hailing the cuts as necessary cleanup. Others are mourning the casual erasure of formative childhood IPs, and Reddit users have doubted the move. They've dubbed the move corporate Thanosing. Crash survived falling into acid, time travel, and racing games, but he definitely couldn't survive a quarterly earnings spreadsheet, and that's depressing. So Red Dead Online has finally seen an update for the first time in 4 years, dubbed Strange Tales of the West Volume 1. After years of silence and fans holding a digital funeral for the game, Rockstar finally delivered something substantial to Red Dead Online. Thank God, dude. The update includes 4 new Telegram missions under a horror western theme, zombies rising in Armadillo, a mysterious robot uprising at Braithwaite Manor, swamp cryptids appearing in Lagras, and miners vanishing in tall trees, possibly abducted by something. So the tone and the lore, it's heavily inspired by Undead Nightmare, which was a cult favorite Red Dead Redemption 1 expansion, and the content holds a darker supernatural turn for the Red Dead Online world. I am super excited for this because I loved Undead Nightmare. So we have other features. We've got triple rewards right now on Telegram missions through August 4th. New weapons and cosmetics themed around these missions. Rumors of new voiceovers for Sadie Adler and Dutch, leading to speculation that more narrative content may be on its way. A lot of fan theories say that this could be a test run for a next-gen RDR2 re-release, possibly standalone or with an Undead Nightmare 2 baked in, which I would be down with. It's a stealth revival of Red Dead Online to rival GTA's still thriving chaos, which has been desperately needed. The community's mood, people are stating that Rockstar finally remembered we exist, and it feels like an apology letter written in cowboy blood, and Sadie Adler DLC or nah, someone says. So Ubisoft blames solar flares for their server chaos in other news. This past week, Ubisoft servers melted down again, but this time, instead of admitting to bad code, the studio pointed fingers at the sun. Literal, I'm not even joking. They cited severe geographic disturbances caused by solar flare bursts, which allegedly disrupted online services for Assassin's Creed Shadows, X Defiant, which has been shut down anyway, the Crew Motorfest, which isn't seeing a lot of growth, and Ubisoft Connect as a whole. Is this real? Absolutely. Solar flares can disrupt satellite-based communications, but the internet remains unconvinced. Fan reactions with this are stating that Ubisoft patch note, they now need horoscopes. Mercury's in retrograde, and so is my KD ratio. At this point, the Sun has better QA testing than Ubisoft. The PR rating, 2 out of 10 for effort, 10 out of 10 for chaotic creativity.
I just love how it was only Ubisoft that was affected.
Right,
All
I'm
the
literally playing GTA
servers
Online
were
right now.
completely fine during this huge solar wave that knocked out Ubisoft's servers, but it was only Ubisoft.
But here's that week in Mana. Microsoft's playing corporate Thanos. Rockstar just summoned the cowboy undead. Ubisoft is blaming the sun like it's 1969. Whatever universe you're playing in, keep your saves backed up, your mods stable, and your console pointed away from the sun. And with that, my beautifully disoriented companions, we're wrapping up another 90-minute tour through roasted headlines, based opinions, cursed gaming news, and one suspiciously patriotic alligator detention facility.
We laughed, we raged, we questioned the morality of swamp prisons, and somehow Rockstar remembered how to update a game. It's been emotional.
Whether you're driving to work, rolling your third joint, or hiding from the scorching sun, we appreciate you. Not in a sentimental way, more like a we noticed you were here kind of way. We'll be back live Monday, 6 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, 8 a.m. Central, with the same sarcasm, same smell, probably a few more headlines that make us wonder if the simulation is underheating.
Until then, stay high functioning, stay hydrated, and if someone says the word streamlining, run. Like physically leave the room. That's how it starts.
Get the fuck out of here.
Bye! This has been Munchies and Mana, signing off like a GameCube startup screen. Strangely nostalgic, mildly unsettling, and definitely louder than it needs to be. Peace, love, like, share, subscribe, tell your therapist about us, and be glad the first thing you see in the morning on the outside world isn't Dan's nipple.